Hello guys, this is the part 4 of the story of Marshall Peak. The half-saints and pseudo-great emperors return to Star Boundary to find the war in its final stages. Star Boundary has been almost completely corroded, and all of its remaining forces gather in High Heaven Palace as the last standing Pure Land. As the demon race closes in, the void heavenly cauldron suddenly appears in the sky with the word void etched across it, and Yang Kai eventually emerges as the Void Great Emperor. After calmly reciting his title and grand doubt of the awestruck forces of both armies, Yang Kai uses a few waves of his palm to slaughter countless millions of demon race as if they were mere ants, allowing everyone under Great Emperor to finally experience their true and horrifying power. Witnessing the rapid and unstoppable annihilation of the demon race army, the Night Shadow Great Emperor, real name Qin Yi, appears and tries to distract Yang Kai until Star Boundary is corroded. However, the world's will abandons Qin Yi, and Yang Kai uses his own Dao Seal to kill him within an extremely short period of time, further terrifying the present demon saints and remaining demon race army. Yang Kai then begins rapidly reversing the corrosion of Star Boundary. Suddenly, however, the demon Qi gathers into the giant face of Mo Sheng, who combats Yang Kai in a battle of wills to corrode Star Boundary. As Yang Kai struggles, Zhang Ruoshi's voice comes from the Blood Gate in Eastern Territory and says that she will provide aid soon. It turns out that Zhang Ruoshi's ancestor, Heaven's Order, is the woman who originally injured Mo Sheng in ancient times. Eventually, Wu Kuang/Duan Hongchen appear, having saved the Great Emperors from the demon saints that kept them imprisoned in another space. The Great Emperors introduce themselves respectfully to their newest member, Yang Kai, and proceed to gain a momentary advantage over the demon race. Mo Sheng realizes his original plan is ruined, and, in desperation, collects all of the demon Qi in Star Boundary, along with the demon saint Huang Wuji, in order to form a giant physical body. At the same time, Zhang Ruozai emerges from the Blood Gate with Xiao Xiao, now as the divine spirit Tai Yue, to aid in the fight. Yang Kai, Wu Kuang, Zhang Ruozai, Xiao Xiao, and the other Great Emperor-level forces of Star Boundary fight valiantly to overcome Mo Sheng's open heaven realm power, as Mo Sheng is forced to eventually absorb all the other demon saints in order to heal his many sustained injuries. Desperate, Mo Sheng unleashes a devastating attack that threatens to destroy Star Boundary. Yang Kai takes the initiative to sacrifice himself by taking this attack into the void. The Void Great Emperor's flesh body explodes in the void and the morale of Star Boundary's divine soul survives in excellent condition due to the heaven-defying soul-warming lotus. Yang Kai, with the help of his medicine garden wood spirits, Mulu, and Muju, takes this opportunity to refine the immortal tree. Yang Kai flies back to the mass of flesh that was once his body, refines the immortal tree, and restores his flesh body to be stronger and more full of vitality than ever. The Void Great Emperor then returns to the battle, greatly invigorating Star Boundary's forces while simultaneously horrifying Mo Sheng. Yang Kai turns the tide, and Mo Sheng is finally suppressed with the awesome power of the Azure Dragon Spear. With Mo Sheng restrained, Wu Kuang takes the opportunity to invade Mo Sheng's knowledge sea and destroys his divine soul. Yang Kai watches as Wu Kuang gains a new flesh body, and the Battle of Star Boundary comes to an end. In the aftermath of the war, Star Boundary is heavily damaged. The Great Emperors, most of which appear to need at least 100 years to recover, realize that the world will eventually die if something is not done. Before they can contemplate further, Wu Kuang suddenly returns to Star Boundary and asks Yang Kai and the Great Emperors to take a look outside of the universe. To the surprise of Yang Kai, and to the absolute horror of both the Great Emperors and Zhang Ruozai, Ada, the giant spiritual god, is now situated outside of Star Boundary. Zhang Ruozai explains that giant spiritual gods are one of the most powerful entities of the outer universe and, while they are quite docile, they have a need to feed on dead universe worlds. Yang Kai wakes Ada up and repetitively asks him for a way to save Star Boundary while feeding him dead stars. Ada eventually mentions a world tree as a possible method. Yang Kai and the others return to Star Boundary, where Zhang Ruozai, with some knowledge and memories of Heaven's Order, explains to them some mysteries of the outer universe, including the details of the open heaven realm. Yang Kai then spends 50 years refining the immortal tree as the first element of his Dao Seal before departing for the outer universe, along with Zhang Ruozai. Yang Kai decides to first create a new demon realm by stripping its area from his sealed world bead along with embodiment to serve as its world master. Later, while Yang Kai and Ruozai traverse space, she explains that 108 major influences dominate the 3,000 worlds of the outer universe. These influences are known as the 36 cave heavens and 72 paradises. Ruoshi's ancestor, Heaven's Order, was a disciple of Longya Paradise. Suddenly, however, Yang Kai and Ruo Zai run into a void beast and are separated. Yang Kai then subsequently ends up being forced to serve as a janitor for Seven Skillful Land, a second-class influence with numerous middle-rank open heaven realm cultivators on a turtle-shaped spirit province. However, he eventually escapes after he helps a man named Xu Huang, the deposed former sect master of Seven Skillful Land, to go on a suicide mission that greatly damages Seven Skillful Land by killing a large number of disciples, and two of their top middle-rank open heaven realm venerables. Yang Kai and several friends he met in Seven Skillful Land, including the Golden Rooster Divine Spirit, Great General, and the Peak Emperor Realm Cultivators, Old Fang, Dai Yu, and Asun, head toward Great Moon Province in order to meet up with the former Elder of Asun's. Before they proceed with this journey, Great General leads Yang Kai to rescue his mother, Mia Meng. Eventually, the group stumbles upon the First Inn, where, for a price, they learn tons of crucial information about the outer universe, 3,000 worlds. Running into Great Moon Province outside a dying sun star, where several nearby influences have gathered in order to search for middle rank and above fire resources, Yang Kai happens to stumble upon a legendary Golden Crow's palace. As the first one in the palace, Yang Kai stumbles upon the corpse of a high-rank open heaven realm equivalent Golden Crow, but is forced to hide when many open heaven realm cultivators, including the prestigious and powerful Lan Yiru of the First Inn, also happen upon the Golden Crow corpse. After many trials and tribulations, Yang Kai manages to swipe the Golden Crow corpse in front of the many open heaven realm cultivators, and uses his skill with space principles to miraculously make it back to the First Inn before Lan dents the high-rank Golden Crow's true fire into his Dalseal before finally handling it over to the First Inn. However, his actions in delaying this process cause Lan Yiruo's First Inn building to be destroyed, leading to Yang Kai being forced to join her as a new valet. Over the next several months, Yang Kai befriends both Bei Qi, another valet, and Lan Yiruo, who somewhat obviously uses his debt to her as a pretext for protecting him while he learns more about the 3,000 worlds. When Locking Yang Land appears, Bei Qi finally sees the opportunity to promote to the open heaven realm, and Yang Kai goes along with Lan Yiruo to accompany him on the journey. However, this event turns out to be a trap set up by several open heaven realm cultivators, including Qi Jin of Gold Rainbow Province, Ling Chunqiu of Boundless Altar, and Yue He of Kuai Palace, who all have enmity toward Lan Yiruo. As a result of this confrontation, Bei Qi successfully promotes to the open heaven realm due to Yang Kai's world source liquid, but Lan Yiruo is forced to lure the enemy away from them. This leads to Yang Kai being captured by Yue He, the former sister of Lan Yiruo, who subsequently takes the former to a nearby Star City. However, the Star City is shortly thereafter covered by a mysterious mist, and Yang Kai and Yue He ends up being taken into Great Ruin's boundary. However, Yang Kai is overjoyed to learn that in Great Ruin's boundary, world force is suppressed, and open heaven realm cultivators can be openly challenged by emperors. Over the first set of years in Great Ruin's boundary, Yang Kai convinces Yue He to submit to him, acquires a high-rank earth element, develops a divine ability manifestation in the Emperor realm, single-handedly destroys a Thunderlight Union and Sword Pavilion army, becomes a foreign elder of Scarlet Star, and acquires a high-rank water element resource alongside Chu Hua Chang and several other Cave Heaven/Paradise Core disciples. However, Yang Kai's reign of terror is eventually curtailed when he is made the bearer of the heavenly moon demon spider, Juju Yin. As a participant in the Seizing Spirits War in the unaging land of Great Ruin's boundary, Yang Kai manages to acquire several world fruits, a world tree root hair to save Star Boundary, and the single innate spirit fruit that allows Juju Yin to leave Great Ruin's boundary. Before escaping Great Ruin's boundary with Juju Yin, Yang Kai manages to save all the other surviving bearers boundary. Yang Kai and Yue He are chased all the way to Seven Skillful Land by Scarlet Star, a second-class influence who suffered many losses to Yang Kai and Great Ruin's boundary in addition to gaining many benefits. While hiding out in Seven Skillful Land, Yang Kai and Yue He watch Scarlet Star brutally betray Seven Skillful Land alongside the latter's sworn enemy, Flying Smoke Palace, leading to both their destruction and the supplanting of their altar by Scarlet Star. Yang Kai, taking advantage of the Seven Skillful Land formation jade left to him by Xu Huang, then uses this opportunity to wipe out Scarlet Star. Only Chendian Fatty, having bargained for his life with the loyalty list, is spared as a slave of Yang Kai's. Seven Skillful Land then becomes Void Land. Yang Kai, as the Void True Lord, also take over the entire big territory, in addition to all the third-class influences and universe worlds within it. As his first act as the Void True Lord, Yang Kai solicits Proprietress's help in convincing the talented Immeasurable Grandmaster to build an extremely powerful 9 layers heaven formation for Void Land. As Yang Kai continues to develop Void Land and Void Territory, he finds the opportunity to travel back to Star Boundary with Lu Shui and Guo Ziyan in order to plant the World Tree Root Hair to save it. During this trip, he has a dangerous encounter with the 5th rank Open Heaven Realm He, who ends up being defeated and added to his loyalty list. Upon arriving at Star Boundary, Yang Kai is welcomed back by the other Great Emperors, who are curious as to what means he is brought to fix Star Boundary. Yang Kai then plants the World Tree Root Hair, which, after consuming an alarming amount of Star Boundary's world energy, relatively quickly begins to miraculously repair the heavenly way of the world. With Star Boundary saved, Yang Kai gathers 600,000 of Star Boundary's most talented cultivators, including the Great Emperors, Pseudo-Great Emperors, members of Dragon Island/the Ancient Wildlands, and all Emperor Realm martial artists, in order to bring them back to Void Land to pursue a higher martial Dao. However, on the way back from Star Boundary, Yang Kai discovers that the new Demon Realm is under assault by a second-class influence by the name of Black Feather Sect, who is on the run from another influence called Flying Flower Boat. Yang Kai helps Bai Limo, Chang Tian, and Embodiment to defeat Black Feather Sect before putting the former two into a sealed world Flying Flower Boat from Black Feather Sect. Yang Kai allows them to catch up with his group in order to return her to them. However, Flying Flower Boat's 5th rank Open Heaven Realm leader, Shangwen Long, betrays Yang Kai's generosity with an attempt to force him into serving under her. However, Yang Kai not only manages to return safely to Void Land, which holds the protection of the 6th rank Open Heaven Realm He, but he also forces Shangwen Long and Flying Flower Boat to give up their precious Lotus Fall Flying Palace artifact as compensation for his troubles. Having overseen the completion of the 9 layers heaven formation, Yang Kai eventually sets out to meet with Proprietress again. After attending a Red Cloud's Paradise auction in which he receives a high-rank Yang element resource, and draws the attention of his One Yuan Cave Heaven Outer Sect Elder, Yang Kai accompanies the Proprietress to the opening of the legendary Blood Monster Cave Heaven. In the Blood Monster Cave Heaven, Yang Kai again meets Chu Hua Chang, briefly reunites with Zhang Ruo Zai, combats a reborn former 8th rank Open Heaven Realm Master and the Black Crow Divine Monarch, destroys the Blood Monster Divine Palace, takes the people of Dingfeng City into a sealed world bead, and acquires a high-rank gold element resource. Unfortunately, Yang Kai's acquisition of the high-rank gold element alarms several Cave Heaven and Paradise's elders before leaving the Blood Monster territory. Heavenly Sword Union, backed by 2 first-class influences, organizes a 100-sect alliance to lay siege to Void Land, which is due to both their Union Master, Kong Feng's desire to acquire Yang Kai's high-rank gold element and the Cave Heavens and Paradise's desire to suppress his direct promotion to high-rank Open Heaven Realm. When the alliance crumbles under the might of Void Land's profound 9 layers heaven formation and surprising number of Open Heaven Realm cultivators, 2 Cave Heaven and Paradise 7th rank Open Heaven Realm intersect elders make a move to kill Yang Kai. However, they are driven off when Void Land's 2 divine spirits, Juju Yin and Bai Zai, force them to retreat. Since Void Land is hard to take due to the presence of its 2 divine spirits, Ti Zheng of Myriad Demons Heaven instead lures Lan Yuruo into the extremely dangerous Shattered Heaven, where she gets trapped in the Shadowless Cave Heaven while searching for a high-rankian element resource for Yang Kai. After learning about the situation and recognizing it as a trap, Yang Kai immediately heads to Shattered Heaven regardless alongside Juju Yin, Yue He, Bei Qi, and Chu Hua Chang. After later confronting several high-rank Open Heaven Realm elders outside of the Shadowless Cave Heaven, Yang Kai discovers that he cannot enter the Universe Cave Heaven unless he promotes to the Yang Kai discovers that he has no choice but to straight promote to the 5th rank Open Heaven Realm if he has any hope of saving the Proprietress. When Yue He protests his choice, Yang Kai secretly reminds her that he has a middle-rank world fruit in his possession. Yang Kai ends up successfully promoting to the 5th rank Open Heaven Realm, and the Cave Heaven and Paradise forces depart without any further interest in him. Unbeknownst to anyone but Yang Kai, his merging of the sealed world bead into his small universe during the promotion allows him to achieve the unprecedented feat of having a real small universe world at the middle rank Open Heaven Realm. In the Cave Heaven, Yang Kai uses a middle rank world fruit to jump straight to the 6th rank Open Heaven Realm. Later, after rescuing the Proprietress and others from the Shadowless Cave Heaven, Yang Kai eventually returns to Void Land with several powerful new followers. Eventually, Yang Kai learns of a Forum Congress being held by Yin Yang Heaven to determine a husband for the punished Chu Hua Chang. Yang Kai is eventually tricked into competing in this Forum Congress by Xu Linggong, the honored master of Chu Hua Chang, and her senior siblings, Qing Kui and Su Ying Shui. Fortunately, Yang Kai convincingly wins the Forum Congress on Crime Star over several elites, but accidentally kills a 6th rank Open Heaven Realm Thousand Crane Paradise Core disciple by the name of Zhao Xing in the process. This draws the immeasurable wrath of Zhao Xing's 7th rank Open Heaven Realm honored master, Zuo Quanhui. After spending some time in a small source world of Yin Yang Heaven, Yang Kai eventually returns to Void Land, where he soon engages in a protracted war with Zuo Quanhui. Despite his incredibly domineering 7th rank Open Heaven Realm strength, Zuo Quanhui surprisingly suffers both the loss of another disciple and serious injuries at the hands of Yang Kai after he attacks an innocent universe world within Void territory. During an extended respite in the war, Yang Kai manages to gain control of Black territory, which supplements Void Land with resources necessary to allow for the straight promotion of 13 6th rank Open Heaven Realm cultivators, including all the great emperors of Star Boundary. Yang Kai and Void Land end up taking another victory over Zuo Quanhui, who recently took control of Heavenly Sword Union. However, through unfortunate events, Zuo Quanhui discovers the location of Star Boundary and its World Tree subtree. Yang Kai manages to make it back to Star Boundary with his forces before Zuo Quanhui, and discovers the World Tree has miraculously improved Star Boundary's background. Eventually, Yang Kai manages to kill Zuo Quanhui in a new big tower ahead of any problems. Yang Kai intentionally invites the representatives of Cave Heavens and Paradises to Star Boundary in order to share the bounty of the World Tree subtree. Eventually, Yang Kai comes to an agreement to allow each Cave Heaven and Paradise 5-star boundary disciples every 100 years in exchange for a full set of 6th rank resources, or their equivalent, per disciple. However, Yang Kai manages to retain complete control over the new big territory next to the newly named High Heaven territory. After making sure that things are stable in High Heaven territory, Yang Kai travels with Shu Linggong in order to repair some universe temples for the Cave Heavens and Paradises. This experience acts as an excellent opportunity for Yang Kai to both learn how universe temples function and further advance his attainments on the Tao of Space. After successfully accomplishing this task, Yang Kai eventually ends up in Shattered Heaven again. In Shattered Heaven, Yang Kai trains to become stronger before running into the infamous Blood Crow Divine Monarch, formerly known as Black Crow. After Blood Crow is captured by a Bright King Heaven Intersect Elder in large part due to Yang Kai's actions, Yang Kai ends up miraculously acquiring a world spring in his small universe from a fractured universe Cave Heaven from under the gaze of several contending high-rank Open Heaven Realm cultivators. After numerous events and conflicts, Yang Kai manages to finally ally himself with the 7th rank Open Heaven Realm Xiaolan. Shortly after this, they both end up chased into the Divine Ability Sea of Shattered Ruins by the 8th rank Open Heaven Realm Bright Sun Divine Monarch, whom, as one of Shattered Heaven's 3 rulers, greatly covets the World Spring. After becoming stuck in a strange space Divine Ability in Shattered Ruins, Yang Kai simultaneously meditates on solving the predicament while entering his own small universe, called Void World, to explore its development. During this time, he both names and raises 2 genius disciples from birth, as they both greatly and respectively match the space and spirit Tao marks of his small universe. After they grow old enough, Yang Kai reveals to his disciples, Zhao Yibei, Tao of Space, and Jia, Spear Tao, the truth about their home world, and his intention to take them out one day in Divine Ability. Yang Kai ends up in Ancestral Land with Xiaolan. Here, he meets Mia Meng and Great General again before befriending the Ancestral Land's 4 Phoenix Pavilion leaders in Azure Luan, Yue Zhou, Yuan Chu, and Hong Hu. During the rest of his time in Ancestral Land, Yang Kai helps unseal the Sealing Demon Land, discovers a dead black-colored giant spiritual god, retrieves the Dragon Clan's Crystal Palace sacred object, and achieves the 1000 Zhang Great Dragon transformation, which allows him to display power equivalent to the 7th rank Open Heaven Realm. Yang Kai then departs from Ancestral Land with Xiaolan and Hong Hu, who comes to collect Su Yan and the other Divine Spirit-related members of Void Land in order to bring them back to Ancestral Land for training. Upon arriving back in Void Land, Yang Kai has Su Yan, Zhu Qing, Shan Qing Luo and all the other Divine Spirit-related members of Void Land accompany Hong Hu back to Ancestral Land. Later, Yang Kai heads back to Star Boundary, drops off his disciples at High Heaven Palace, and visits the incredible small stone world of the new big territory. Later, Yang Kai is summoned to an isolated meeting with Alongya Paradise Intersect Elder, Shi Zheng, whom is accompanied by Zhang Ruozai. During this meeting, Shi Zheng tricks Yang Kai into opening a box containing an ink insect, which, much to Shi Zheng's surprise, is unable to corrode Yang Kai due to his acquisition of the World Spring. After safely sending Ruozai off to Star Boundary, Yang Kai uses his Great Emperor status of Star Boundary along with his newly improved Dragon Bloodline strength to force Shi Zheng to commit suicide. After informing the other Cave Heaven and Paradise elders of the incident, Yang Kai finally learns the massive secret of the existence of the Ink clan. Yang Kai then elects to covertly infiltrate Longya Paradise to discover the extent of ink corrosion there. In Longya Paradise, Yang Kai indeed discovers some ink disciples, or humans corroded by ink, and eventually makes his way to the 7th rank Open Heaven Realm headmaster of Longya Paradise, Li Yuan Wang, to inform him of the situation. The headmaster, having his own eccentric methods, simultaneously tests Yang Kai's abilities against the entirety of Longya Paradise's present 6th rank Open Heaven Realm cultivators, while allowing him to secretly test them for ink corrosion, and is absolutely shocked when Yang Kai easily defeats and screens them all. Yang Kai, through this process, manages to discover the primary inked members of Longya Paradise, and the other Cave Heaven and Paradise elders help to both defeat them and examine their own sex. Li Yuan Wang allows Yang Kai the opportunity to study the Great Desolate Scriptures, which Yang Kai hopes to use to both improve the speed of time in his small universe and to learn as the method of creating small source worlds. During this time, Yang Kai raises a third disciple, who is a natural genius in the Tao of Time, by the name of Shu Yi. After returning from Longya Paradise, Yang Kai happens to see another giant spiritual god traversing the void. Excited, Yang Kai jumps on his shoulder as he travels several big territories until they surprisingly end up in a chaotic dead territory. Here, Yang Kai witnesses the legendary battle of Sun's burning shine and Moon's nether glimmer from the safety of Ayar's protective shield. Taking advantage of this miraculous opportunity, Yang Kai spends many years collecting several high-rank yin and yang element resources formed from the cast-off energies of Sun's burning shine and Moon's nether glimmer. However, Yang Kai is shocked into ceasing this activity when the two divine beings appear in front of him in childlike human forms. Eventually, Yang Kai forms a bond with Sun's burning shine and Moon's nether glimmer as their little brother, and uses millions of small stone rays to help them continue their eternal battle through a new and fresher method. As a thank you for his efforts, Sun's burning shine and Moon's nether glimmer greatly stimulate the growth of Yang Kai's ancestral dragon source by pointing their index fingers at him. Having missed his 100-year time limit to return to Yin Yang Heaven for his marriage to Chu Hua Chang, Yang Kai eventually makes his way there. Upon arriving at Yin Yang Heaven, Yang Kai gets wrapped up in a scheme by one of its inner sect elders, Chen Shu, who tricks Yang Kai into becoming the sole option as a cultivation partner for his disciple, Tao Lingwan. This was done to prevent Yin Yang Heaven from looking bad for trying to break from the marriage arrangement, as well as to set up Tao Lingwan with a suitable and worthy partner. However, Yang Kai manages to retrieve Chu Hua Chang, who fled to the sect's mysterious Samsara Pavilion to both delay for Yang Kai's arrival and prevent herself from being married off to someone else, by winning her love through 9 different lives over 130 years. During this process, Yang Kai also manages to inadvertently befriend, retrieve, and rescue a long-lost Yin Yang Heaven Straight Promote 7th rank Open Heaven Realm core disciple, Luo Tinghe, from the Samsara Pavilion. Yang Kai then witnesses as Luo Tinghe almost immediately promotes to the 8th rank Open Heaven Realm in various negotiations. Along with the aid of Luo Tinghe, Yang Kai ends up taking both Chu Hua Chang and Tao Lingwan as wives into his household at the cost of an extremely large dowry of 6th rank and above Yin Yang resources. This means that, despite the fact that he is marrying a potential 8th rank Open Heaven Realm Cave Heaven core disciple in Chu Hua Chang, Yang Kai achieves the extraordinary and historically unprecedented feat of maintaining his independence from Yin Yang Heaven. On the way back to High Heaven Palace, Yang Kai gets a strange feeling before suddenly noticing that the names of Xin Peng and Luan Beifeng have disappeared off of his loyalty list. After immediately heading to Black Territory, Yang Kai is horrified to learn that they have been corroded into ink disciples, and that the strange world force-consuming energy the big territory contains is actually due to the presence of an ancient and imprisoned ink clan powerhouse sealed within its depths. While using the protection of the world spring to pretend to have been inked by Luan Beifeng, Yang Kai secretly requests for backup from the Cave Heavens and Paradises through a secret message to Chu Hua Chang and the others. Eventually, Yang Kai's cover is blown, but his beyond 6th rank Open Heaven Realm strength successfully buys enough time for several 8th rank Open Heaven Realm ancestors of the Cave Heaven Paradises to arrive on the scene, with the first being the 6-wood Divine Monarch of Gold Antelope Paradise. At the urging of Yang Kai, both the 6-wood Divine Monarch and the other 8th rank ancestors subsequently allow the nearly 5,000 restrained ink disciples of Black Territory to be delivered to Sun's burning shine and Moon's nether glimmer in a novel attempt by Yang Kai to reverse their corrosion by ink. After some coaxing by the latter, Sun's burning shine and Moon's nether glimmer proceed to grant Yang Kai Sun and Moon marks on his left and right hands respectively, allowing him to use their Yang and Yin attribute crystals to generate a light of purification that significantly counters the strength of ink. Yang Kai then uses the light of purification to purify Luan Beifeng and the thousands of Ink disciples who are not already too far gone to be saved. However, Yang Kai is shortly afterward disappointed to hear that Sun's burning shine and Moon's nether glimmer are unable to deal with the imprisoned Ink clansmen back in Black Territory due to the fact that their true bodies cause a great amount of destruction. Yang Kai returns to Black Territory. Eventually, Yang Kai ends up trapped in the core of Black Territory's super array as he uses the light of purification to defend himself from the imprisoned Ink clan powerhouse, which he later learns to actually be a 9th rank Open Heaven Realm equivalent Ink clan royal lord. While Yang Kai endures, the ancestors of the 36 cave heavens and 72 paradises spend the next 100 years mining ore stars in order to decode Black Territory's extremely dangerous super array until they finally happen upon Yang Kai and the royal lord. After an extremely fierce and hard-fought battle involving over 1,000 high-rank Open Heaven Realm Cave Heaven and Paradise cultivators, the Royal Lord is eventually killed. However, the Royal Lord's death leads to yet another massive revelation within Black Territory, an open void corridor leading directly to Ink Battlefield, where the Cave Heavens and Paradises have secretly engaged in war with the Ink clan for hundreds of thousands of years. After some deliberation between Yang Kai and the ancestors of the Cave Heavens and Paradises, it is agreed that Yang Kai is the best candidate to enter and close the Void Corridor from the side of Ink Battlefield due to his unequaled attainments on the Tao of Space. After dealing with several personal matters, including becoming officially married to Xiaoning Chang, Yuru Meng, Chu Hua Chang, Tao Lingwan, Jiao, and Shui Yue through alliances with several Cave Heavens and Paradises, Yang Kai frees all the members of his loyalty list as they and all of his most loyal companions see him off. Having ensured that High Heaven Palace and Void Land are secure, Yang Kai then finally heads into the Void Corridor. After exiting the Void Corridor, Yang Kai finds himself in a secret boundary on Ink Battlefield. Here, he very quickly encounters and purifies a 7th-rank Ink disciple, named Mang Chi, in order to inquire some information. After doing so, Yang Kai departs the secret boundary to search for the human race forces as Mang Chi sacrifices himself in a surprising show of loyalty and fearlessness toward their cause. Once on Ink Battlefield proper, Yang Kai ends up traveling for a short while before pretending to be a lost Ink disciple for a 6th-rank equivalent Ink clansman named Angry Flame. Over the next 2 years, Yang Kai fights as a gladiator for Angry Flame until their camp is eventually attacked by some human race forces. During this attack, Yang Kai runs into a 7th-rank Open Heaven Realm female soldier of Blue Sky Paradise, Feng Ying, who got trapped behind enemy lines. After helping convinces Feng Ying that he is not an actual Ink disciple, they roam together throughout the rear of the Ink clan army in order to purify more Ink disciples. After successfully purifying more than 100 human race cultivators, Yang Kai and Feng Ying make their way to one of the human race's more than 100 and absolutely massive main bases, the Blue Sky Mountain Pass. Yang Kai quickly becomes extremely valuable to Blue Sky Pass due to his ability to generate the light of purification, and likewise spends virtually all of his days using it to help make numerous spirit arrays to combat the problem of hidden Ink disciples. However, after feeling that his martial practice has become stagnant, Yang Kai sneaks onto a nearby battlefield in order to continue his progress on the martial Tao, and accidentally ends up discovering the hiding spot of a royal lord. After the Royal Lord is subsequently injured by the 9th-rank Open Heaven Realm Blue Sky Pass Old Ancestor, Yang Kai finally finds the opportunity to promote to the 7th-rank Open Heaven Realm. As a show of faith in his recently witnessed abilities by the 8th-rank Open Heaven Realm officers of Blue Sky Pass, Yang Kai is also made the team leader of his own elite unit, Dawn Squad. Over the course of his subsequent time in Blue Sky Pass, Yang Kai helps to make numerous universe arrays, i.e. space arrays, and expelling Ink battleships, obtains many resources from hidden secret boundaries through his skill with space principles, and earns Dawn Squad great prestige after achieving victory over an 8th-rank Open Heaven Realm equivalent territory lord, Chasing Wind, alongside a newfound comrade from Divine Feather Paradise, Bei Yi. Afterward, Yang Kai provides a further boost to all of the mountain passes of Ink Battlefield by providing Blue Sky Pass with the blueprints for his Void Yin Yang Mirror, dramatically increasing their ability to mine resources from the countless dead universe worlds of Ink Battlefield. Later, while exploring yet another hidden secret boundary that belonged to an ancient alchemist, Yang Kai finds that it contains a World Tree subtree. After some deliberation between the 8th-rank officers of Blue Sky Pass, it is decided that Yang Kai may attempt to receive the World Tree subtree into his small universe as a reward for the large amount of meritorious service he has earned as a member of the pass. After successfully refining the secret boundary and receiving its subtree, which, in addition to other benefits, also holds the function of both stabilizing his small universe and preventing its corrosion by ink, Yankai gives up his World Spring to one of the 8th rank army commanders of Blue Sky Pass, Ding Yao. In addition, Yankai provides the Pill Hall Grandmasters of Blue Sky Pass with a long-lost pill recipe for the Expelling Ink pill, which has the extraordinary effect of preventing Blue Sky Pass. Yankai is later reluctantly handed over to Yin Yang Pass by the former for the purpose of infiltrating enemy lines in order to kidnap, rescue, or kill an artifact refining Grandmaster turned Ink disciple that the Ink clan is using to craft increasingly battlefield-capable palace artifacts, thus threatening to nullify one of the biggest advantages of the human race forces. After taking his first steps in becoming a true open heaven great artifact refiner in preparation for this mission, Yankai arrives in Yin Yang Pass, where he shortly afterward runs into a cute little girl in a strange yet bustling marketplace. Later, after meeting with the Yin Yang Pass army commanders to go over his infiltration plan, Yankai proceeds to depart with Xu Lingang without the knowledge that the little girl he has been treating as such is actually the 9th rank Open Heaven Realm Old Ancestor of Yin Yang Pass, Smile's old ancestor. Later, after successfully infiltrating a royal lord lead King City under the guise of having become a Ink disciple of a previously injured territory lord named Black Abyss, Yankai spends some time as an artifact refining Ink disciple before eventually discovering his target, Nian. Later, Yankai has no choice but to kill Nian after finding that he has been too corroded by ink to be purified. He then proceeds to save some other artifact refiners before making a move to escape until he runs into the King City's infuriated Twilight Royal Lord. Yankai is then forced to use objects given to him by both the Blue Sky and Yin Yang Pass old ancestors in order to hold off the Royal Lord, and Smile's old ancestor quickly comes to his aid. As the two 9th rank level powerhouses fight, a large battle ensues between their respective forces, and Yankai uses this opportunity to destroy and plunder the ink nests and resources of several defenseless territories. After numerous dangerous encounters, Yankai manages to track down and pursue Black Abyss until he ends up reunited with Smile's old ancestor. Having already seriously injured the Twilight Royal Lord, the also injured Smile's old ancestor proceeds to slaughter Black Abyss and several other pursuing territory lords before reverting back into her child form and escaping with Yankai. Later, after finally returning to Yin Yang Pass, Yankai eventually learns the unique nature of Smile's old ancestor's Samsara secret art, and he subsequently spends the next several years helping her to more rapidly heal through her experience of the worldly affairs within Void World. After successfully helping Smiles to stabilize the situation at Yin Yang Pass, Yankai returns the fact that his attainments in the Tao of Time allow for the time of his small universe to move much faster than the outside world. Yankai's small universe becomes an elite open heaven realm producing cultivation paradise akin to Star Boundary during his return to Blue Sky Pass. In addition, the large development of several Expelling Ink battleships, countless Expelling Ink pills, many universe arrays, and precious Void Yin Yang mirrors finally emboldens Blue Sky Pass to embark on their first ever offensive expedition against the Ink clan. During this endeavor, Blue Sky Pass receives reinforcements from the 3000 worlds, and Yankai learns from the newly arrived troublesome Grandmaster that Star Boundary has indeed become an elite open heaven realm cradle capable of producing numerous straight promote 6th and 7th rank talents. However, troublesome Grandmaster's arrival also brings another incredible boost to the human race's efforts to start mounting an offensive expedition, a mass-producible light of purification-bearing artifact known as the Evil-Breaking Divine Lance. In the ensuing battles, Xiangshan, one of the most powerful and famous cultivators on Ink Battlefield, promotes back to the 8th rank Open Heaven realm after having previously fallen in rank due to giving up a piece of his small universe to avoid corrosion by ink. With Xiangshan's promotion successfully used as bait, Yankai's Dawn Squad and Blue Sky Pass achieve another major victory over the Ink clan, allowing them to achieve the unprecedented feat of firmly establishing an outpost in the Ink clan's former territory. However, Blue Sky Pass subsequently halts their progress as part of the human race's plan to first recapture the long-lost Great Evolution Pass before potentially embarking on their first-ever full-scale expedition to eradicate the Ink clan. Due to Yin Yang Pass's Southern Army Commander Wu Qing's successful promotion to the 9th rank Open Heaven realm, Smile's old ancestor is freed to leave the now very stable Yin Yang Pass in the care of this newest old ancestor as she leads the newly formed Great Evolution Army in their mission to both recapture and take over Great Evolution Pass. As Great Evolution Pass is situated between the Wind and Cloud Paradise and Azure Void Cave Heaven Mountain Passes, the newly formed Eastern/Western and Northern/Southern Great Evolution armies are respectively first gathered on the sides of the latter two passes. In their first action as part of the Eastern and Western Great Evolution armies, Yang Kai and Dawn Squad help to completely decimate the Ink Clan forces of the Wind and Cloud War Zone as Smiles helps the Wind and Cloud Pass Old Ancestor to Great Evolution Pass. Eastern Army Commander Xiang Shan decides to change the original pincer plan in order to first lure out the Great Evolution War Zone's Royal Lord from his King City so that the Eastern and Western armies can decimate the subsequently vulnerable Ink Clan territory within this war zone. Likewise, Yang Kai is sent off to notify the Northern and Southern armies of this change along with orders to prevent the sending of any reinforcements from Great Evolution Pass. In an ensuing battle between them and Ink Clan reinforcements from Great Evolution Pass, the Northern and Southern armies manage to both defeat the enemy forces and force them back to Great Evolution Pass thanks in large part to the extraordinary dominance of the only 7th rank Open Heaven Realm Yang Kai against opponents of the same rank. With the Northern and Southern armies now firmly stationed outside of Great Evolution Pass, Yang Kai returns to the Eastern and Western armies, who boldly set up camp outside the Ink Clan's King City while Smiles' old ancestor engages in direct combat with the war zone's somewhat inexperienced Royal Lord. Eventually, a triumphant yet injured Smiles' old ancestor returns to the newly formed Eastern and Western armies outpost as the far more severely injured Royal Lord makes his way back to the King City for healing within his King's Nest. However, unknown to most, Smiles' old ancestor is able to use Yang Kai's small universe to heal far more rapidly than what would otherwise be possible, and she spends the next several decades of real-world time doing so as the Great Evolution armies engage in a stalemate with the Ink Clan on their respective fronts. Over the next more than 100 years, Smiles' old ancestor takes advantage of a rapid healing through Yang Kai's small universe to repeatedly injure and weaken the Great Evolution War Zone's Royal Lord as the Great Evolution army collectively wears down the Ink Clan forces near their respective stations. With the King City and its Royal Lord greatly weakened, the Northern and Southern Great Evolution armies finally march on Great Evolution Pass before, through some negotiations, coming to an agreement to allow its occupying Ink Clan forces to peacefully retreat back toward their King City in exchange for leaving behind all of their commodities and 7th rank Ink disciples. In this way, Great Evolution Pass is finally reset to no-return pass after Smiles' old ancestor reaches an agreement with the Dragon Clan to allow him access to the Dragon Pool. However, when Yang Kai arrives, the Dragon Clan is far less than welcoming to him due to his human race bloodlines. After defeating an angered Peak Great Dragon, Jia Lao-san, in front of the Dragon Elders, Yang Kai is approached by Huang Xiniyang of the Phoenix Clan, who allows him to stay in their Nirvana Chinese Paracel Tree. In the Paracel Tree, Yang Kai eventually comes across the Ice Phoenix Empress's Phoenix Nest. After drawing on the power of the nest to increase his attainments on the Tao of Space, Yang Kai inadvertently draws the attention of the 9th rank Open Heaven Realm equivalent Fire Phoenix Empress, who teaches him more about the mysteries of divine spirits. When the Dragon Pool opens, Yang Kai enters despite the unwillingness of the other participants. While in the pool, Yang Kai finds that the 2 marks given to him by Sun's burning shine and Moon's nether glimmer, in addition to the strength they stimulated within his source, allow him to achieve extraordinary growth. Over the course of his time in the Dragon Pool, Yang Kai sheds his human race bloodlines completely to become a pure golden ancient dragon. However, as Yang Kai goes far beyond the depths of what a normal dragon clansman can, in addition to drawing an abnormally large amount of the Dragon Pool's strength, he manages to draw the attention of the extremely powerful ancient dragon, Fu Guang. Yang Kai then ends up using the Sun and Moon marks to both achieve a 7,000 Zhang body and bring Fu Guang to the verge of achieving Divine Dragon. After leaving the Dragon Pool, Yang Kai gives a scale of Fu Guang to the ancient dragon elders, and their hostility toward him completely disappears as he is accepted as a pure-blooded dragon clansman. The Dragon Clan elders offer Yang Kai a chance to leave his name in the Dragon Book in order to both become an official member of Dragon Clan and open up the possibility of being resurrected from death, but Yang Kai declines after learning it will prevent him from leaving no return pass. After achieving Ancient Dragon, Yang Kai's battle prowess rises tremendously, and he becomes absolutely invincible within the 7th rank Open Heaven Realm, in addition to gaining the ability to truly contend with the Territory Lord. Upon returning to Great Evolution Pass, Yang Kai uses his skill with space principles to retrieve its source, allowing Smiles and the dozens of 8th ranks in the pass to mobilize it for war. With the integrity of their defense line now complete, the entirety of the human race mountain passes decide to finally make their first full-scale expedition to eradicate the Ink Clan. In the ensuing assault on the Great Evolution, the Royal Lord's King's Nest, kill an innate Territory Lord, and kill a new promote 9th rank Open Heaven Realm Ink disciple despite still being an only 7th rank Open Heaven Realm cultivator, further adding to the legend of his achievements. After the other mountain passes also achieve victory over the king cities of their respective war zones, A select few human race old ancestors then use their divine souls to examine the remnants of the king's nests, where they are subsequently ambushed by a large group of royal lords. However, when things seem dire, a mysterious party uses strength beyond the ninth rank open heaven realm to allow the old ancestors to escape. From this experience, the old ancestors discover that there is a queen's nest for the Ink clan. Yankai and the human race mountain passes, having just achieved the greatest victory in history against the Ink clan, continue their first ever expedition toward the source area of Ink battlefield. After arriving in the source area, Yankai watches as the old ancestors meet with an old man in a giant restriction. The old man, named Kang, Dark Breen, explains that he is one of the 10 great antiquity experts of the human race, and that he is managing the heavenly beginning great restriction that has been keeping the true body of Ink in prison for over 1 million years. As Kang explains both the history of the 3 eras of the outer universe and the origins of the human race war against the Ink clan, Ink itself protests his explanations of the latter subject as mere lies. With Yankai present, the more than 1 million-year-old Kang presents the old ancestors with an all-or-nothing decision on whether they want to face Ink in a final war or make peace with it, to which the old ancestors unanimously decide the former. Upon the opening of the restriction to allow the human race army to kill off Ink's forces, an absolutely massive battle ensues. As Yankai and the human race forces attack from the mountain passes, Ink eventually releases over 2008 territory lords from the restriction, and they eventually break through the human race artillery. After this, Ink releases many innate royal lords. During this time, Yankai gets stared down by a fierce innate territory lord, but manages to flee into the restriction under the protection of Kang. Here, Kang informs Yankai of both the origins of heaven-devouring battle law and his good friend, Shi, Devourer. Kang also lets Yankai know that he is the new self-help chosen by the universe, and it is for this reason that he received a world restriction again. A horrifying event happens, and Ink releases half of a Ink giant spiritual god from within the restriction before Kang is able to close it. Seeing that the battle has become hopeless, Kang sacrifices himself by using a jade left to him in the antiquity by the strongest of the 10 great experts, Mu Herd, who was mysteriously killed during a meeting with Ink. Around the same time, Dark Green shoots a beam of light into Yankai before dying. An apparition of Mu appears from the jade, and uses a powerful divine soul technique to put Ink into a deep sleep. The aftershocks of this incredibly powerful divine soul technique stagger every single powerhouse in the source area outside of Yankai, whom has the protection of the soul-warming lotus. Unfortunately, receiving the light from Kang turns Yankai into a massive target for a royal lord, and he gets chased away from the source area battlefield. This chase continues for many years, and Yankai has no choice but to enter multiple dangerous and extremely powerful celestial phenomenons in order to avoid death at the hands of the powerful royal lord. In the first celestial phenomenon, the royal lord gets severely injured due to his inability to decode the means to avoid its effects. Eventually, Yankai manages to enter a particularly unique celestial phenomenon, where he discovers it contains the legendary River of Time. In the River of Time, Yankai absorbs countless rivers consisting of the myriad grand Deos, and promotes to the 8th rank open heaven realm in 2000 years of altered time. Yankai then spends an additional 2000 years of altered time in the celestial river to consolidate his boundary, absorb more grand Dao, and use up the rest of his cultivation materials. After leaving the River of Time, Yankai encounters and slays the injured royal lord, who further greatly weakened himself by using a secret technique in an attempt to instantly corrode Yankai into an Ink disciple. After returning the source area, Yankai finds that Ink is still asleep and the restriction intact. Eventually, Yankai finds many broken mountain passes, and learns from some human race survivors that only about 500 years had passed since he left the heavenly beginning Great Restriction War. Here ends the part 4 of the story. Please like and subscribe to the channel and also suggest which series you want to listen next.